It's a good day to get out and exercise your franchise, and I know that you will, even if it is to follow the people who are suggesting you vote uncommitted, or the people who I think wrongfully are suggesting you use your vote as a weapon against the former president, Donald Trump, by voting for Nikki Haley, who has at this moment no pathway to being able to win. I did also read she's losing one of her big money contributors. I have it somewhere here in my notes. She's losing, because I said she'll keep doing it because there are so many people who don't want President Trump that they're putting money up for her just in case something changes or happens. On the other hand, the people who want President Trump will not be dissuaded. But there are people who maybe haven't made up their mind. John Sellek, Chief Strategist, CEO of Harbor Strategic Public Affairs, is with us. And John, nice to have you back here on WJR. Let me just open it up with you giving us kind of your thoughts on this primary day.
Well, it's like one of these days that we're so excited to have happen, even though we kind of already know what's going to happen, and it's not actually all that exciting. The national media has descended upon Michigan. I'm laughing at some of the social media posts I've seen where local media is saying they're outnumbered, 5 or 10 to 1 at some of these Dearborn polling locations. So we're definitely going to see national media coverage of what's happening, but it's kind of like we have a machinery set up to cover a really big, complicated, and competitive presidential race, and we're probably already set to go with Trump and Biden, so there won't be one.
Well, set to go with Trump and Biden, and in the Detroit News on the opinion page, the one and only Nolan Finley, who does a great job as the editorial page editor and as a great columnist, his headline, "The Presidential Choice Nobody Wants."
And he's right. It's true. CBS did polling in the last month or so where 67% of all voters said that if Trump and Biden were the choice, the system is not working. Only 8% said if Trump and Biden are the choice, that the system is working because we have the best candidates. So, yes, there's a lot of people who are frustrated, but I don't think it's apathy. I think it's accepting what's handed to them. They know they don't want this choice. It's why we see in some of these imaginary polls, if it was Gretchen Whitmer versus Trump, or if it was Nikki Haley versus Trump or Biden, there'd be a different result than what we're seeing. But that's not what we're going to get.
I'll veer off what I was going to ask you next based on what you just said. And that is, Gretchen Whitmer's getting a lot of play on the national news media today. And I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on the possibility that we might see our governor in that position running for president.
Well, I think it is a possibility. What percentage we would put on that probably would not be very high, because a lot of kind of sort of crazy and historical things would have to happen. But what Governor Whitmer is doing is smart for her. And it may even help Michigan down the road. But the bottom line being, if you're a surfer, you actually have to have your board out. You have to be on the water. You have to have skills to know when the big wave comes, are you ready to ride it? And she is doing everything possible to make sure that she and her team are ready to ride it, because I'm sure she looks around the rest of the country and goes, Gavin Newsom, if he's president, I can be president.
Oh, boy.
Right? So why wouldn't she do that? And so far, she's done it pretty well without tripping on anything. Being up on the big stage, the high wire, is a lot different pressure than being on that place here just at the state level. And so far, it's gone pretty well for her. The theory that only resonates with me so far is that Biden will continue to go through the rest of the primaries. He'll be nominated in name before the Dem primary, and then he could withdraw with his ego intact, enjoy the last 6 months of the presidency and the ice cream and the aviator glasses, and let the fighting happen for who could be his replacement at the Dem convention.
Well, look, I've been so wrong about this stuff in the past. For example, foolish me thought Michigan would rally around Romney, for example, because I thought people would think there's a great advantage of having a Michigander, or back then a Michiganian, elected president and in the White House, and I thought that'd be good for Michigan. Well, nobody thought that way except me. So in the same way that there are a lot of people who criticize Governor Whitmer, I believe that having somebody from Michigan goes a long way in helping the great state of Michigan. But I was wrong last time. Maybe I'm wrong this time. But we're so far away from that right now, or so it seems to me. And the other thing that's fascinating is how many people are talking, as you mentioned a while ago, the country is watching Michigan. But yet it's a very unusual situation because of the very strong Arab population, the largest in this country, in Dearborn, Michigan, and the fact that they are going to be voting uncommitted for a completely different reason than what would generally happen in an election. So I'm not sure what you're going to learn from this.
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think the media, they have, like I said, all the infrastructure and the machinery is in place to cover a really busy race, and it's not here. So they have to come looking for the one thing that'll be their hook. No offense. Like if I had to file a story tonight, I have to find out what is of interest that I can talk about. And number one, we have a lot of national media discovering that, Dearborn exists and that Michigan has this massive population of people with Arab heritage and North African heritage in Michigan, and that they are very well organized, and they're doing a really good job on their campaign to get attention for their issue. But, they face a lot of hurdles, Paul W., because who actually, if we all raise our hands, who actually knows that you could vote uncommitted in an election, and why you can in this one? Because it's really about assigning delegates to a candidate. It's not actually voting for a candidate, and how that works. And so a lot of people don't even know you could do that. A lot of people don't want to show up for this election in the first place, especially because it's so nice outside. And then you have to convince them that it's okay to vote, quote, no on President Biden, and not sort of mean that you're helping President Trump, which for a lot of those voters, they haven't typically voted Republican in the past. So there's a whole lot of stuff going on there. The only thing I could point to as a comparison real quick would be in 2012 when President Obama was facing re-election. He was the only one on the Michigan ballot, and 11% of people that day voted uncommitted. So I think for this campaign to really matter, it's probably got to at least double that to really be a thumb in the eye of President Biden.
Well, it happened, too, with Clinton and Bob Dole in Michigan, going back a little bit further, where uncommitted came out very, very strong. That was in 1996, because President Clinton didn't appear on the ballot. But that's a whole nother story. You're right. There's a lot going on today, and people staying tuned to WJR will hear all about it. You'll hear from President Trump, former President Trump, with Chris Renwick at 2:18 this afternoon. It'll be interesting to hear what he has to say, if there's anything new there or not. But John Sellek, we'll lean on you from time to time as Chief Strategist, CEO of Harbor Strategic Public Affairs. Thanks for your help.
All right, and I'll keep telling everybody I know to write in Paul W. Smith.
Yeah, please don't. Thank you. Thank you, John.